The moon hung low in the ink-black sky, casting an eerie glow over the secluded woods that cradled our vacation home. My partner Sarah and I had sought solace in this remote retreat, a haven from the chaos of city life. Little did we know, the tranquility of our idyllic weekend would soon be shattered by a sinister impersonation. The night was still, disturbed only by the crackling fireplace and the distant hoots of an owl. Nestled in the warmth of our cabin, we were jolted by an abrupt knock on the door. The sound reverberated through the silence, sending shivers down our spines. Sarah glanced at me, her unease mirrored in her wide eyes. I approached the door cautiously, peering through the people to find a figure, clad in a police uniform. The unsettling part, we hadn't dialed 911, nor had we heard any sounds that warranted police intervention. A cold sweat broke across my forehead as I opened the door to the alleged officer. His stern expression softened by the glow of the porch light. He claimed to be responding to a breaking and entering call, his eyes scanning our cabin as if searching for elusive clues. Unease settled like a fog in the room as he insisted on checking the perimeter. My instincts screamed danger, but Sarah convinced me it was protocol. Little did we know, this was the beginning of a nightmarish ordeal. The alleged officer's behavior grew increasingly erratic. He wandered the rooms aimlessly, asking peculiar questions unrelated to the supposed break-in. I caught Sarah's worried gaze, and we silently communicated our shared discomfort. The man's every move seemed rehearsed, like a twisted performance. Our fears reached a crescendo when, peering through the cabin window, we spotted a mysterious figure lurking in the shadows. Panic tightened its grip as we realized, the intruder was not alone. Accomplices concealed by darkness lingered on the periphery. The walls of our haven felt paper-thin as we realized the supposed officer was an impostor, a puppet master orchestrating a sinister plot. Confrontation became inevitable. As we challenged the impostor, demanding an explanation for his intrusion, the air thickened with tension. His demeanor shifted, a predatory glint in his eyes betraying malicious intent. It was then that we understood the gravity of our situation. We were at the mercy of unknown assailants, isolated in the heart of the unforgiving woods. In a desperate bid for safety, we managed to escape through a back entrance, our breaths visible in the frigid night air. Fear fueled our sprint through the woods, guided only by the distant glow of civilization. The ominous figure and his conspirators pursued us like phantoms, shadows blending with shadows, gasping for breath. We stumbled upon a road where a passing motorist rescued us from the clutches of our pursuers. As the red-tailed lights of our rescuer's car disappeared into the night, we glanced back, half expecting to see the fake cop and his accomplices vanish into the woods. Our harrowing encounter left scars that time could only partially heal. The impersonation taught us the importance of trusting our instincts, especially when faced with authority figures. If something feels amiss, it probably is. In moments of danger, prioritize your safety over politeness. Dial 911 if in doubt, and find a well-lit, populated area to seek refuge. It's better to be overly cautious than to fall victim to the sinister impersonations that lurk in the shadows. As we reflect on that fateful night, the memory remains etched in our minds like a horror movie playing on an endless loop. May this story serve as a cautionary tale, a reminder that even in the serenity of nature, darkness may encroach. Stay vigilant, trust your instincts, and remember, the woods may not always shelter you from the unseen terrors that prowl in the midnight shadows. The night sky stretched endlessly above me as I navigated the winding roads of Colorado, surrounded by the haunting whispers of the wilderness. My headlights cut through the darkness, revealing an isolated highway that seemed to stretch on forever. Little did I know that this desolate stretch of road would soon become the setting for a nightmarish encounter. The rhythmic hum of my engine was abruptly shattered by the shrill wail of a siren. Glancing in my rearview mirror, I saw the flashing blue and red lights of a police car. My heart quickened, and I eased my vehicle to the shoulder, contemplating the possible reasons for this unexpected stop. As the officer approached, I couldn't shake the unease settling in the pit of my stomach. His uniform, though resembling that of a cop, bore subtle irregularities. Unmarked car, no badge number, and an unnerving lack of police insignias. The officer, his face concealed by the shadow of his hat, asked me to step out of the car. Alarm bells rang in my mind as I scrutinized his every move, searching for signs of authenticity. His requests became increasingly invasive, bordering on the absurd. Fear coiled around my chest as I hesitated, contemplating the safest course of action. It was then that I noticed something more unsettling: the absence of a standard-issue sidearm. Every instinct screamed that I was dealing with an imposter. I feinted complete odds. My mind racing to formulate an escape plan offered no solace, and the only witnesses were the distant stars overheat. The fake cop's intentions remained unclear, but the looming threat of danger hung palpably in the air. As I stood there paralyzed by fear, the fake cop's tone shifted from authoritative to menacing. He circled my car like a vulture closing in on its prey. Panic surged as I realized that compliance might not be enough to ensure my safety. With each passing moment, the darkness of the night seemed to close in, amplifying the feeling of vulnerability. In a desperate bid for freedom, I seized the moment when the fake cop momentarily turned away. My legs carried me in a sprint across the highway, heart pounding in my ears. The night air hung heavy with tension as I sped down the desolate highway, the hum of the engine echoing through the darkness. A flickering streetlight cast eerie shadows on the empty road. An unmarked car with flashing blue and red lights appeared in my rearview mirror, signaling me to pull over. My heart raced, a knot forming in my stomach. A stern-faced officer approached, donning a uniform that seemed authentic at first glance. His badge glinted in the dim light as he requested my license and registration. Something felt off, a nagging suspicion clawing at the edges of my consciousness. As I handed over my documents, his gaze intensified, and a sense of unease settled over me. The officer claimed I matched the description of a suspect in a recent crime. Panic welled up within me, my mind swirling with fear. He ordered me out of the car for a more thorough inspection, his tone growing increasingly authoritarian. Doubt gnawed at me, and a quick glance around revealed the desolation of the surroundings, a perfect stage for deception. Gulping down my apprehension, I discreetly texted a friend my location and the details of the encounter. The officer, seemingly unaware, continued his interrogation. Sensing danger, I calmly requested the presence of another officer or suggested driving to a nearby police station. The fake cop's facade wavered for a moment, but he insisted on proceeding with the roadside inspection. Just as tension reached its peak, a real police car pulled up behind us, its lights cutting through the darkness. Relief washed over me as genuine officers approached, questioning the imposter. The interloper, now exposed, attempted to flee, but the true law enforcement swiftly apprehended him. It turned out this was no isolated incident. A group of fake cops had been exploiting unsuspecting motorists for weeks. The genuine officers commended my cautious approach, emphasizing the importance of verifying the identity of law enforcement officers, especially in secluded areas. The fake cop had a record of impersonation, and my vigilance had contributed to putting an end to his deceptive spree. As I drove away from that unsettling encounter, the distant glow of civilization beckoning once more, I reflected on the thin line between safety and peril. The road may stretch endlessly, but the hazards that lurk in the guise of authority can be exposed by a discerning eye and a vigilant mind. In a world where illusions abound, trust your instincts, question irregularities, and may your journeys be free from the clutches of those who would exploit the night.